Well, I should
That's
mention
what we
that
call it.
I believe very strongly in doing unauthorized biographies, and all three of my biographies are unauthorized because, when you think about an authorized biography is compromised
Yeah.
in one way, shape, or form, and you can't get around that. And people sometimes make a deal with the subject, like, you cooperate with me, but usually there's a quid pro quo that they get to cut things out of the book, or they get to tell you can't write about this, or you can't write about that. And I really believe strongly as an old newspaper man that we get lied to a lot and we don't get the whole story of things. And so my task is to tell the truth and really get behind the official myths that surround these people quite often. So I don't ever make deals with people to do an authorized biography, and I wouldn't do it even if somebody offered me the chance to do it. So with Spielberg, I contacted his company. I waited till I'd interviewed 100 people before I approached him, because I wanted to really get going on it before he had any say over anything. And I just said I'd love to interview Spielberg, but it's an unauthorized book. And then he's sent back word that he didn't want to talk to me, but he respected my work and wouldn't do anything to hamper it, which was nice. He doesn't really talk to anybody who does unauthorized books. He puts out books with writers who he works with who are kind of under his control. They'll do the making of Indiana Jones or something, and those books have some interest, as giving you facts about the making of the films, but they're not terribly revealing. So to do a really in-depth, honest biography, you have to do it on your own. So it really wasn't a handicap for me not to talk to him, because he's given so many interviews that almost any subject that I wanted to get his viewpoint on, I could find a quote from him from some interview. But what was lacking from all the books on Spielberg, there had been a few biographies, but they all relied on quotes from him, and they never bothered to interview everybody else. And so I went out and interviewed everybody else, more than 300 people, all the kids that he grew up with, the kids that were in the amateur films that he made. His father gave me an interview, and nobody had ever interviewed his father before. His mother wouldn't talk to me because Stephen asked her not to. So I guess your mother knows all the really bad stories. But his father talked to me, and that was fascinating, because that was part of the story that hadn't been known very much. And actually his mother is such a character that she's been interviewed a lot, so I was able to get quotes from his mother on a lot of subjects. So I actually didn't need to interview her, although I would have enjoyed it. I talked to her briefly, and she was very nice, but a lot of people talked to me, and some wouldn't. I tried to get to everybody, and what I found was that the more recently they'd worked with Spielberg, the less likely they were to talk. And the people who were least likely to talk were actors. Actors seem kind of scared, because they probably figure if I say the wrong thing about Stephen, he won't hire me again. But people who worked with him back when he started out in the 60s and 70s tended to be happy to talk to me, because they probably think I'm not going to work with him again, so what the heck, And then a few actors and few, other colleagues talked to me from later years. But it was a challenge when you're writing a book about a living, powerful person. Certain people just don't respond or say no. So that's a kind of thing you have to get around, which I tried my best to do. You can get quotes from people that you can't get directly if somebody won't talk to you, like Richard Dreyfuss never responded to my letter. He's given interviews about Spielberg, so I was able to get his point of view, and other people like that. But it is not. It's not as easy as interviewing somebody whose career is over, because people are more willing to talk. So it's kind of a challenge, and I kind of enjoyed that challenge of trying to tell this story in different ways without just sitting down with Harrison Ford and getting his thoughts. He was another one who didn't respond, but as I say, more than 300 people did. So I think I was able to tell the story quite thoroughly.